Shree Maathrey namaha. Joshi, can you chant Shuklam Bhadram Vishnu Mama?
Shuklam Varanam Vishnu Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarvavignopashante.
Shuklam Bharadaram
Vishnu Shashivarnam
Vishnu Shashivarnam
Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarvavignopashante.
Very good. Shrikanto Matlavasya.
Shrikanto Matlavasya Janni Sarvamangala Janakaha Shankaro Mahadevata Tvam Vande Gajananam.
Shivashaktyayukto.
Shivashaktyayukto Yadi Pavati Shakta Pravritum Nache Devam Devo Nakalu Kushila Spanditumapi Atastvam Aradhyam Harihara Virinchadi Virapi.
Pranatum Stotum Va Padamakrita Punya Pravati. Saraswati Namastubhyam.
Saraswati Namastubhyam Vade Kamarupini Vidyaramam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Mesada.
Jnananandamayam Devam.
Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmala Spatikakritim Adaram Sarva Vidyanam Hayagriva Upasmahe.
Vimalapati Kamalakuti.
Vimalapati Kamalakuti Pustaka Rudraksha Sasta Hastaputi Kamakshi Pakshmalakshi Kalita Vipanchi Vivasi Vairichi.
Manojavam.
Manojavam Martha Tulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatpajam Vanarayudmukyam Sri Rama Buddham Sarsanamami.
Sri Rama Rama Rameti.
Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattvalyam Rama Rama Varanare.
Ishanam Sarvavidyanam.
Ishanam Sarva Vidyanam Ishwaram Sarva Bhutanam Brahmadipati
Brahmanodipati.
Brahmadipati Brahmanodipati. Ishanam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagriva.
Ishanam Sarvavidyanam Ishwaram Sarvabhutanam Brahmadipati Brahmanodipati Brahma Shivome Astu Sada Shivom. Guruve Sarvalokanam.
Guruve Sarvalokanam Vishre Bhagadoganam Nide Sarvavidyanam Shri Dakshinamurti Namaha.
Very good. Okay. In today's class, we will discuss about, I think we discussed the 25th Slokam in the previous Soundarya Lahari class. Today we'll discuss about the 26th Slokam of Soundarya Lahari. The previous Slokam we discussed about the Panchaka, the 5 acts that the Parabrahma does: generation, operation, destruction, God, God, and then Tirodhanam and Anugraham. Today's Slokam takes it to the next level to say why we say Jagato Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwaro. Why are they considered the Adi Kutumbi, the first family, the first mother and father, and the eternal mother and father? They are the only ones who will remain. Why the Veda uses a word called Sada Shiva. In the Vedas, there is no Sada Brahma, there is no Sada Indra, there is no Sada Rama, there is no Sada Vishnu. But there is only Sada Shiva. Especially the southern part of India, you will see the name Sada Shiva is extremely common as well. So Vedas refer to Shiva as Sada Shiva again and again repeatedly. And there's a reason why the Vedas do that. So today's Slokam talks about it. It says, Virinchi Panchatvam Vrajati Harirapnoti Viratam Vinasham Kinasho Bhajati Daddo Yati Nidaram Vitandri Mahendri Vitataripa Sammi Vitadasha Maha Samharesmin Viharati Satitat Patiraso. Viranchi Sanchinvan. Who is Viranchi? The one who is the husband of whoever plays the veena with the name Virinchi. Saraswati has so many names, but here They did not say Saraswati Pati. Jagadguru says, Viranche Panchatvam Rajati Harirapnoti Viratam. Viranchi is basically the Veena that Saraswati plays. What is the Veena that Saraswati plays? Its name is Viranchi. But where can you see it? Can you see the Saraswati's Veena anywhere? All of us see. Go ahead, Joshi.
Is it the one that all of us keep in our houses, the small Veena? Is that a replica of it?
It is not a replica of it, but it is made looking at the Saraswati's Veena, but Saraswati's Veena will be a little different. Okay, what will be different in Saraswati's Veena? There is a great composer, okay, called Muthuswami Dikshita. When he went to Varanasi, Kasi. Why do we say Varanasi, Kasi? Because the bigger city of Kasi is generally Benares. Then in Benares, there are 3 rivers that are flowing. There is Varana, there is Asi, there is Ganga. These Varana and Asi are flowing from north to south. There are 83 ghats, now 84, with Modi ji making one more ghat called Namo Ghat. Of these 84 ghats, the southernmost ghat of Benares is called Asi Ghat. This is where the Asi and Bharuna river meet with Ganga and they flow from south to north. Varanasi or Kasi. What is the difference between Varanasi and Kasi? Varana river on this side, Asi river on this side are engulfing a piece of land. The land that is surrounded by Varana on one side, Asi is one side, is called Kasi. The city outside of Varanasi is called Benares. So when you go to Benares, you are not in Kasi. When you are within the limits of Varana Nadi and Asi Nadi, that is the place of Kasi. Therefore, we say Varanasi or Kasi. Now, when Muthuswami Dikshitar went to Varanasi and took a dip in Ganga, why is the Ganga dip in Varanasi so powerful? Because there, Mother Goddess Ganga goes as Uttara Vahini. What does Uttara Vahini means? She flows up north. What does flowing up north mean? Flowing up north, what is on the north of India? Himalayas. Himalayas are the spiritual capital of the world, not just India. They're like the prayer room. If India is considered to be a room of the world, if the world is considered to be a home or a house, then India is always considered the prayer room of the world. And in this prayer room, like in your prayer room, you have a simhasanam where you make the Divya Murti of Bhagavan sit. Himalayas are the simhasanam on which the Bhagavan sits. Now, everything goes south. What is on the south of India? Sri Lanka. What is in the south of every city? A smasanam. What is the place of smasanam? Smasanam or a graveyard is the place where the Pancha Bhautika Sarirams, the 5 elemented bodies, are taken and they are offered in the fire. So it turns into ashes and the 5 elements become a part of the 5 elements. What are the 5 elements that are there in our body? Anyone? What are the 5 elements? Akasam, Vayu, Agni, Apas or water. And then you have air. Right?
Yeah.
Air is Vayu. So what is the Prithvi is the one that I missed. Akasam. First comes Akasam. From Akasam comes Vayu. For example, if we were to talk in scientific terms, Akasam is wherever you look, it appears blue in the morning because of the sunlight reflection. But Akasam has no color of its own. It's generally dark by nature. Okay. Now from Akasam, the space comes Vayu. in the whole universe, our Earth has life on which we live because it is surrounded by atmosphere. This atmosphere has oxygen, ozone at the topmost layers protecting us, in the form of a circle, a protective layer that is surrounding our Earth, wherein oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen are contained. So from Akasam comes Vayu. From Vayu comes Agni. Okay. From this air, the heat is able to propagate through, and fire is born because you need oxygen for combustion to happen. Therefore, fire. When fire burns, what happens? The humidity in the air, that is in the form of air, starts becoming into liquid state. Okay, you will start seeing whenever there is fire. So from fire comes apas or water. From water and along with its 5 elements comes Prithvi. When fire, something is burnt, ashes come. What is ashes? Ashes have to go mixed with the Prithvi Tattvam. So these are the 5 elements that are there in our body. When the body is offered in the fire, Agni Deva, along with Agni Deva has 2 wives, Swaha Devi, Swata Devi. Swaha Devi is used for all karikramas to do with the gods. Okay, the devas. So whenever you do a homam, you say Om Namo Ganapatiye Namah Swaha. Why are we saying Swaha? I'm seeing already Agni Deva in the fire there. When I say Swaha, I'm requesting Agni Deva, saying this is an offering for Lord Ganesha. Om Namo Ganapatiye Namah. So I'm bowing down to that Lord. Please take this offering to that God, whose ever name I have chanted now, and offer it to them along with your wife. Okay, just see, when somebody is celebrating, let's say somebody has a marriage in the family, they write an invitation, Shree Maathrey and Shree, right? So when we are sending a message, we have to send it with Agni Deva and his Shakti Swaha Devi. When we do Pitru Karikramas, offering a dead body into the fire is the beginning of the Pitru Karikramas. Agni Deva does that with his wife Svada Devi. He takes the body and he disintegrates the body, burns down the body, and releases the space. For example, if I'm speaking, my tongue is able to move in my mouth because there is space. Now imagine if there is no space in my mouth, how will my tongue move? The tongue doesn't move, how does the sound come? Now, this space, when the body burns, the space reduces, it gets released, right? Because the body no longer exists in the same form. So, Akasham is relieved. This is called, when you actually keep a pot, inside the pot, there is some of the air that comes in, but when you break the pot, the air is still there. It's not being contained in the pot because the pot has broken. Similarly, our body is considered to be a pot, which did not exist in time. The soil with which the pot was made existed and will continue to exist. So one day, an craftsman came and made a pot with that soil by adding water to it. Then he burnt the pot to give it firm shape. Therefore, the pot came into existence. After some years, the pot, rolled down and became pieces. Now, these pieces went into water, and over a period of time, they became softer and softer, and that pieces of pot again became soil, okay, coming in contact with water. Now, this example is very much connected to our human life. We did not exist in this body. Our mother and father got married, and then we were born. Okay, we all have a date of birth. We were born with on a specific day, and then after some time, we grow, we become old, we will die one day. When we die, our body is offered back to fire, or it is either buried, depending on the tradition and ritual that the family follows, and then the body disintegrates and goes back. This is called, this is basically the Gat Akash. The Akasham, or the space, is everywhere. When I created a container, that space extends itself into that container. The container will break and go away, but the content will remain forever. That is the eternity of the soul. Now, so Agni Deva, along with his wife Svada Devi, takes the body and disintegrates. So the Akasa is released back into Akasa. The Vayu, the airs, there are 10 types of airs in our body. Every time we inhale, Prana, Pana, Samana, Udana, right? Naga, Kurma, Krukara, Dhananjaya, all these airs. Every time we breathe, there's one air that is making me blink. There's one air that is making me inhale. There's one air that is beating my heart. So every air has a function. There's one air that is controlling the blood pressure. There's one air that is essentially maintaining the balance in the body, okay, by maintaining the balance in the ears. Now, all these 10 airs are released when the body is burned. Okay, that is how the vayus go back. Then there's water in the body that gets released or gets burnt when you do homam, when you're offering sticks, in the samadas into the holy fire. You will see the dry sticks, when they're burning from one side, there is always water that oozes out sometimes. Similarly, our body will have a lot of fluids, fats. When the body is being offered, all these liquids, will start oozing out before they're burned. So similarly, the Prithvi Tattvam, the ashes will become a part of the earth. And then we talked about Vayu, Agni, whatever maintains the body temperature. Since it went away, the Shivam in the body went away, transforming it into Shivam. Therefore, it's being offered into the fire. Fire is the most purifying element. Now, when Muthuswami Dikshitar took a dip in the Ganga in Varanasi, when he got up, he found a veena. And towards the end of the veena, you will see a dragon-like head, which is called Vyali. This Vyali is a mystical creature in the Vedas. And this Vyali, essentially, for Muthuswami Dikshitar's veena, it turns up, not down. All the veenas that you see in the world are downwards. But Muthuswami Dikshitar's veena has Vyali facing upward. This Vyali is nothing but the Kundalini energy in us. Most of us in the world have the Kundalini energy sleeping. But for some great devotees, Karana Janmas like Tyagaraja, Shyamasastri, Muthuswami Dikshitar, Annamaya, at some point in their life, the Kundalini becomes Jagritam. It gets awakened. So when he took dip in Ganga, he found a veena that was sent by none other than Mother Goddess Lalita. If you go to Kasi, Varanasi, of the 84 ghats, there is a ghat called Lalita Ghat. And that Lalita Ghat, you will find there is a Raja Rajeshwari temple. Lalita Parapattarika is called Raja Rajeshwari. The background picture that I have, she's sitting on the left lap of Shiva. Shiva is sleeping, but she is sitting and ruling. This picture is called the Raja Rajeshwari Tattvam, where she is the chief empress of all the universes. In Varanasi, in the Lalita Ghat, you will find the Raja Rajeshwari Shakti Peetham. Even before Shiva chose to come into Kasi, Mother Goddess Lalita existed there. If you go there, inside a small cave inside, you will find a beautiful smiling Raja Rajeshwari Murti there. She sent that veena to Muthuswami Dikshitar. So the veena of Saraswati that we see in most of the pictures, the Vyali is kept down. That is not the right picture. The actual veena in Saraswati is facing upward. And that is the veena. Now, where do we see veena? Not in the pictures. The veena that Saraswati plays, the reason Jagadguru chose the first word, Viranchi Panchatvam Vrajati Harirapnoti Viratam. Viranchi Panchatvam means even the husband of Saraswati dies one day. Who is the husband of Saraswati? Brahma. Why did Jagadguru choose the word Viranchi? In all of us, we can see the veena of Saraswati playing. Where is it? The veena of Saraswati is her backbone. And at the bottom of the backbone is the Kundalini, at the tailbone. Now, where our hips and the spine meet, that is where the Kundalini energy is sleeping in all of us. Okay, therefore the Veena has the Vyali facing downwards. When you start doing a Nama Japam, a Mantra Japam, a Sankirtanam, singing a song of the divine, whichever you enjoy with ecstatic joy, sometimes you get goosebumps, sometimes you get tears. These are all external manifestations of Kundalini internally getting Jagrutam temporarily at that point in time. But in great devotees, Kundalini becomes permanently Jagrutam. So it awakens permanently. It's not easy to contain once it awakens because it's a supreme energy. Okay? It is like being still in the cyclone. Yeah, you are in the eye of the storm, the lull before the storm. It's not easy to maintain that unless you know how to stay within the storm and maintain it calmly and continue to dance with that ecstatic force, that force that you need to know how to tame and use. Otherwise, it can become the terrific force will become terrible force and can destroy everything that comes in its path. Therefore, the easiest way to awaken Kundalini is through Bhakti Yoga. When you are devoted and doing it, gradually wakens up. Virinchi Panchatvam. So Saraswati plays the spinal cord in you, in me, in all of us. Only when she plays the spinal cord, the air that I'm breathing, it goes all the way to the Mooladhara Chakram, which is at the bottom of the spine. The air, we think the air is going only into lungs. The air that is going into lungs is I'm inhaling oxygen, prana into the rest of the body. But remember, I spoke about the remaining 9 airs other than prana, samana, prana, samana, apana, udana. All these airs, when I'm inhaling internally, it spreads into the 10 airs, and one of the airs goes to the Mooladhara Chakram. And there it hits the Mooladhara Chakram, which is ruled by Ganapati, and bounces back up. From Mooladharam, just above the urinary bladder, is Swadhisthana Chakram. From Swadhisthana Chakram to the navel is Manipuram. From the navel to the heart, cave of heart, Anahata Chakram. Anahata means that which beats without your control. From Anahata Chakram, it comes to Vishuddhi. From Vishuddhi, it comes to Agya. From Agya, it goes to Sahasrataram. But in the speech, in the walk process from Vishuddhi, I am able to pick up my thoughts, convert them into talk in a language of my choice, and speak to you. When I say me, I am talking about this body, but the internal facilitation of all of this talk to thought, thought to talk conversion happens by Saraswati playing her veena on my spinal cord, which means the Vak Shakti, Dhyana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, right? What are the 3 Shaktis that we talk about? Icha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti. First, I need to have the desire to talk about this specific Soundarya Lahari Slokam. When I have the desire, I pray to her, O Mother Goddess Vagdevi, please allow me to speak a little to whatever extent this ignorant person called Prasanna is trying to learn and understand the magnum opus of Soundarya Lahari. Therefore, she becomes Avyaja Karunamurti. She says, she's a mother, right? Saying, oh, this ignorant son of mine who does not know anything is struggling to speak a few words on this specific Soundarya Lahari Slokam, which is like the great Pacific Ocean. But he wants to take just 1 or 2 drops with a little spoon that he brought to the Pacific Ocean. I will show my mercy and not wash the spoon and him away from the beach or the waves of Pacific Ocean. So she becomes mellowed down. She comes to me and gets captured in my spoon as few drops. Now I can tell the world this is Pacific Ocean. water that is there in my spoon. But is that the truth? That is a part of the truth. That is not the full truth. I do have the Pacific Ocean water in my spoon, but I don't have the Pacific Ocean in my spoon. If I think I have Pacific Ocean in my spoon, then it is wrong. Okay. Now, when I start attempting, she will start becoming para, the superconscious, now enters into my spinal cord, Pashyanti, in the form of Prasanna had an Icha Shakti. Now let me transfer it into Jnana Shakti. She feeds the words in a language that my mind understands. And those thoughts start rising up from Mooladharam, Swadhisthanam, Manipuram to Anahatam to Vishuddhi. At Vishuddhi, the Pashyanti becomes Madhyama. So the thoughts are converted into streams of words. The words are then spoken in a language of my choice, which is not necessarily English, is not my mother tongue. But on the fly, the Vagdevi is allowing and enabling me to speak the thoughts that are getting converted into words, and those words are forming into lines, and the lines put together are forming into paragraphs. So the madhyama becomes vaikari. Vaikari is the sound that comes out of the mouth that you can hear, I can listen to, right? And this is the whole process that goes in. That is what we mean when Saraswati plays Viranchi. Viranchi Sanchinvan Verjati Lokana Vikalan. So this body called Prasanna did not exist at some point in time. It took a form and then was born on a specific date of birth, even this body has to go. But this is applicable to the one who is the husband of Saraswati, also Brahma, the one who is, I'm just one of his creations. There are 84 lakh such species and innumerable numbers in each species that are created by Brahma. The creator of all these species also reaches his end when that Brahma reaches his end. Viranchis Sanchinvan Verichati Lokana Vikalan. That Brahma also reaches his end. Just because he created the world doesn't mean he's eternal. He will reach his end. Then what are we talking about? The creations that he's talking about. Viranchi Panchatvam Vrajati Harirapnoti Viratam. Vishnu has so many names: Murari, Krishna, Rama, right? Mahavishnu, Apad Bandhava, Purushottama. Jagadguru takes Veranchis Sanchinvan Verjati, Veranchis Sanchinvan Verjati, Hari Rapnoti Veratim. Hari means the one who consumes. Hari Hari, consume all my papas. Hari actually means thief. The one who steals away my papam is Hari. And that Hari who consumes the papam of others also gets consumed towards the end of the Mahapralayam. So first Brahma falls. Brahma dies. When Brahma dies, Shiva says, this Brahma who created the universes and the cosmos at the request and command of my wife and me, Mahakameshwari, Mahakameshwara. Same Lalita Paravatarika. Lalita and Shiva are called Mahakameshwari, Mahakameshwara when they are uniting with each other with a desire to create the world from which all of us come. All the rivers are born, all the plants are born, all the trees are born, all the planets are born, all the universes are born. That Rupam is called Mahakameshwara, Mahakameshwari. Now this Vishnu, so the Shiva looks at Brahma saying he did a great job of creating the universes. When he dies, his skull should not just roll in the graveyard just like anybody else's. Therefore, I will pick up his skull and wear it in my neck as a garland, and therefore Shiva becomes Brahma Kapale. He actually wears the Kapala Mala of Brahmas. So many Brahmas have come and gone, but he's still there. Then when Vishnu becomes false, Shiva looks at Vishnu and says, here is the great Vishnu who actually performed the greatest and the toughest of the job, sustenance, because of Vishnu's motherly instincts of Ananta Padmanabha Tattvam. He, like a mother, lovingly breastfeeds the just infant who's born. Vishnu feeds the whole world until they reach their date of death and sustains them, the longest process. Then Vishnu, when he reaches the end, he merges into Shiva. And that is an avataram called Harihara avataram, which also gave birth to Ayyappa when Vishnu took the Mohini avataram. For us, they say Mohini avataram because we think only a man and a woman have to unite to give birth. But we are talking about these Divya Sariras which have no gender. We give a gender to them because of our limitation to attach, just like I talked about the Pacific Ocean water in a spoon. It is Pacific Ocean's water, but it is not Pacific Ocean. The murtis that we talk about, Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, they're all like Pacific Ocean. We are trying to apply the limitations that we think are applicable to us to them. Therefore, Vishnu goes and merges into Shiva. At that point in time, what happens? Vinasham Kinasho Bhajati, the one who is the god of death, Yama, even his end, the one who is very impartially looking at the time and saying, in this time, somebody has to go, this animal has to go, it has to leave its body. And you need a lot of impartiality to give that kind of punishment. People say it is a punishment because it kind of stings to leave the body and go, and they say it stings, and therefore a lot of people are scared of death because whatever we don't know, we are scared of. But once we understand the Mahamrityunjaya mantram, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhi Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. The mantram does not say, don't give me death. It says, give me death and make it a painless activity. Like a ripe fruit that leaves the branch and falls on the ground, when the time comes, my soul should leave the body, just like a very ripe fruit and go away, rather than struggling to leave the prana. Therefore, it no longer is a painful act. The one who does this is Yama, right? By throwing the Yama Pasham. And that Yama also meets his end. Vinasham Kinasho Bhajati. Danado Yati Nidanam. Danado Kubera. Why Kubera? Of all the gods, Kubera is Shiva Saka. Kubera is the very good friend of Shiva, who lives very close to Kailasam in a place called Alampuri. And that Kubera, who is the best friend of Shiva, even he also dies. Danado Yati Nidanam. Even that Kubera, who is the bestest or the best friend, a BFF of Shiva, best friend forever for Shiva, even that Kubera dies and becomes one with Shiva. Vitandri Mahendri Vitaterapi Sammilita Drisha. What does Vitandri Mahendri means? Vitandri Mahendri. Mahendra, Maha Indra is Indra with all the Astadikpalakas, all the gods in the Indra. Indra is the god of kings. So all the gods, these are all chairs. Indra, Surya, Varuna, Brahma, Vishnu, these are all chairs. Depending on the punyas a jiva performs, they become Bhavishyat Brahma. Hanuman did so many punyas. Rama said, in the Bhavishyat, you will become Bhavishyat Brahma. So these are all chairs like Prime Minister of India, President of India. Depending on who gets selected and elected by the punya, he or she will sit in that position. And just like our Prime Minister, President, Chief Minister have a tenure of 5 years, even these chairs have tenures until the punyam is consumed. So once the punyam is consumed, they have to come down. The gods don't get moksham. It's only in the human life you will be able to get moksham, right? Therefore, human life is so important to reach the eternity. Vitandri Mahendri Vitadarapi Sammilita Drisha. all the gods, along with Indra, the king of gods, all of them also become functionless. All the gods are Unmesha Nimishotpanna Vipanna Bonavali. You see, gods are animishayas, so they don't blink their eyes. But when the end comes, Indra and all the gods, they close their eyes, means they reach their end, right? And they fall down, because remember, they are also people, jivas like you and I. But because of punyas, they became Indra. Punyas, they became Agni. Punyas, they became Brahma, right? When all of this happens, which means Indra, along with all the gods, Kubera, the best friend of Shiva, then Vishnu, we talked about, the key god of death, Yama, also dies. Vishnu, the god of sustenance, also reaches his end, becomes one with Shiva. The god of generation, Sthiti, Srishtikarta, Brahma, also reaches his end. That is when there are only two people left in this whole universe. In Lalita Sahasranam, we have a name called Mahapralaya Tandava Sakshini. This Mahapralaya Tandava Sakshini is when Shiva does Tandavam of annihilation. She is the only one who is witnessing, and she is the mother. Unmesha Nimishotpanna Vipanna Bonavalihi. She'll say, my dear husband, I cannot see annihilation because all of them are my creation. So she'll blink her eye once. The moment she blinks her eye and opens, in that interval, Shiva does the Mahapralayam. The annihilation happens. Everything that has a namam, rupam, becomes, the form is gone, the namam is gone. So you can't identify. If I burn three pieces, one wood, one piece of, let's say, a tree, a chair, and a human body, I mix those ashes and give you, you will not be able to tell which ashes came from which one. All of it looks the same, right? Similarly, when she closes her eye, blinks, and opens it back, Shiva turns everything into ashes, right? And therefore, because without the end, there is no beginning, and without the beginning, there is no end. And Shiva has to do recycling, just like we have to sleep every night. There will be many jivas who will never get moksham, who will never do the right things in their life because of ignorance and the prabhava of Kali. So therefore, the end has to be given to them by Shiva. For example, if a diabetic patient hurts his or her leg and the leg starts becoming gangrene, the doctor decides to do an amputation, because the doctor says, if I don't remove the leg, the whole body will get poisonous and it will kill the body. Therefore, the doctor, out of mercy, to protect the larger body, removes the leg or the toe or the part that is impacted. Similarly, Shiva, Pradamo Vaidyo Bishaku, is the first god, is the first doctor of all, right? He performs this annihilation in order, saying all these creation of mine are not able to get me, so let me reset everything and therefore give them another chance. And at this point in time, when everybody left and everybody left their form and name, Mahasamharesmin Viharati Sati Tvat Pati Rasao. When Mahasamharam happens, Samharam is done by Yama, but Mahasamharam is done by Shiva. Okay, then Viharati, you are mother when your husband is doing the Mahasamharam or Mahapralayam. You are just sitting and witnessing his Mahapralaya Tandava Sakshini, and you are the only one that is allowing him and making him do. Why should she allow? The first slokam, Shiva Shaktya Yukto. Shiva cannot move his little finger. Mother, because she is full of Karuna, Avyaja Karuna Muti, she says all these people are wasting their lives and they are confusing themselves with the pleasures of the world and the body and thinking it to be the be all do all. Therefore, I need to bring an end to all of them, and therefore she will become the Kali, help the Kala, Mahakala and Mahakali. They will do the Pralaya Tandavam and do the annihilation. We have a word called evolution. When the world is evolving, for example, I said when the world is created, universe is created, First, Akasa is created. The whole universe is in Akasa. From Akasa, the air is created. Our planet is surrounded by atmosphere. Therefore, from Akasa, Vayu, from Vayu, Agni is created. Heat is retained and protected inside the atmosphere through convection, right? And because that heat is captured, life then, because when heat is captured, the heat will start converting humidity in the air into liquid state. Therefore, the fire gives birth to water, right? Two opposing energies are giving birth to each other, like Shiva and Shakti, to show that they are there in everything. One is a kinetic energy, one is a potential energy. Shiva is the potential energy. When Mother Goddess Shakti comes and meets him, it becomes the kinetic energy. But both have to act in balance. Now, from the water comes the Prithvi Tattva. Now, this is evolution. When life is created, when annihilation, Mahasamharam happens, the opposite happens. First, the earth is flooded with waters, Mahapralaya Jalas, they call. And after the waters are engulfing, we will see Ulkapatam, meteorites come and hit. I know our Puranas say dinosaurs were hit by meteorites and stuff, because the reverse process happens. Prithvi gets covered by water. From water, then fire comes. From fire, then the atmosphere completely escapes into the akasam. Our atmosphere just goes. Okay, Earth will not have atmosphere anymore. Therefore, nobody can breathe and everybody falls down. Right? And that is the process of evolution, involution. Okay, in this involution, the whole reverse process happens. And therefore, at the end of Kali Yuga, where adharma becomes completely prevalent, then Shiva does, at the end of the 4 yugas, Shiva does the Mahapralayam, Tandavam, and that Tandavam will cause the Mahapralayam. And when this happens, you are sitting inside your husband as the Shakti, while he's sitting as Dakshinamurti with no Sishyas around. He's sitting alone in Mandasmitam, the gentle smile, in Chinmudra, Mananda Rupam. Shiva's Rupam is always filled with bliss. So he's just sitting in that bliss and meditating on his Aham Spurna, his own Shakti. When the time comes, she comes out in the form of Ardhanarishvara. And then they unite and create the world. Again, this whole process happens. This slokam talks about the process of how Sadashiva is the only one who remains to ensure Shiva, given he is full of mercy. If you look at Shiva Mahapurana, he has never done anything for himself. Shiva has always done things only for other beings, other gods, but never he has done anything for his own benefit. Okay, that is Shiva Tattva. Now, Shiva said, all these gods have helped me create the universe. They performed some role in creating a universe. Now, let me give them an opportunity to be remembered. Therefore, Shiva said, all the gods, all of you go to Varanasi. And in the Pradesam of Kasi, in between Varana and Asi, the land which is called Kasi, not in the larger Benares, but in Kasi, all of you, I will give you space to all of you. All of you will have your Kshetras. Therefore, in Varanasi, you will have a Badrinath Kshetram. You will have all the Punya Kshetras that are there in India, the prayer room of the world. You will find them in Kasi. If you don't have time to go to every place, you will find a Varahi temple, you will find a Hanuman temple, you will find a Rama temple, you will find a Rameshwara temple, you will find a Yama's, the Shivalingam that was installed by Yama. When you go and ask who installed this, they say Yama installed. Therefore, you say, oh, Yama was such a great devotee of Shiva. But that Yama, whoever installed it, he did not take his name. He said the chair's name, Yama installed. So therefore, we basically say Varuna installed, Indra installed. And those chairs become eternal. And Kashi is the one place that never gets annihilated, because Shiva takes Kasi into him and protects. And that is the reason Kasi is called the eternal city, where the ancient Vedic rituals still continue and protected and preserved. This is a brief attempt at this magnum opus slokam of showing the Sadasiva Tattvam of Mahakameshwara and Mahakameshwari. Right? I hope you understood it and I explained it clearly. Let me see, there's a question in the chat. Is Kutastha center in the Agna center? What is the question, Amma? Manasvi, I did not understand.
There's the Christ center or the Kutastha center between the eyebrows, right? Is that a part of the Agna chakra?
Correct. You mean this eyebrow where we keep the botu, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that is Agya Chakra. Agya Chakra has 3 levels. The first Agya Chakra is here, then, a little above the Agya Chakra. So there are sub chakras that we don't talk about necessarily, but the main Agya Chakra is here. So when you are in deep thinking and contemplation, you will close your eyes and try to focus here.
Correct.
Okay. Very good. That, that is a brief attempt of today's shloka, the Soundarya Lahari Slokam. I hope, all of you understood. We will say Mangalam Guru Shree and conclude today's class. Can you sing Mangalam Guru Shree, Ma, Manasvi?
Mangalam Guru Shree Chandramalishwarage Shakti Ganapati Sharadambike Shankaracharyanige Kala Bhairavage Kali Durgage Veera Veera Sura Hanuma Maruti Charanage Mangalam Guru Shree.
The one brief point I'm being reminded is we have Nandi Vidya Nateshwari Nalta Sahasranamam. If you need to understand Mother Goddess, you need to pray to Nandi. Nandi is the composer of Soundarya Lahari, who gave it to Adi Shankaracharya. Okay, Nandi Vidya Nateshwari. You pray to Nandi, then you will understand the secrets of Sri Vidya. Once you understand the secrets of Sri Vidya, Shiva Gnana Pradayani, she will explain the Shiva Tattvam to us and she will reveal the secrets of Shiva. Okay, that's a brief thing that I was being reminded when Manasvi was chanting Mangalam Guru Sri. Stay blessed. We will meet again next Sunday. Shree Maathrey.
Thank you, sir.